Deep in the jungles of Peru, Yale University professor Hiram Bingham is on a quest to find an infamous lost city.
When Yale opened the crates, they weren't expecting problems. After all, Machu Picchu had already given up its story, or so they thought.
It's an incredible feat of engineering, of design, of imagination.
But inside, buried beneath stone dust and handwritten notes, were tools that didn't fit the timeline and materials that didn't fit the map. That's when the silence began. And what came next was even harder to explain. The discovery that wasn't meant to be seen. In 1912, explorer Hiram Bingham arrived at Yale with crates full of treasures, thousands of objects pulled from Machu Picchu's terraces, walls, and temples. Most of it, ceramics, textiles, tools, was cataloged, studied, and eventually returned to Peru. But 3 crates vanished into a different kind of archive. No catalog numbers, no public record, just a hand-scrawled note. Further analysis required, limit access. In 1914, Bingham made a curious entry in his personal journal. Found implements at lowest terrace, material unknown, consulted metallurgist, awaiting results. No results were ever published, no further comment was made. But records show Dr. Harold Wentworth, a Yale metallurgist at the time, had those crates. His lab notes? Sealed. A student request to access them in 1987 was denied on grounds of proprietary research methods for notes written in 1914. The secrecy surrounding those tools is where this story first frays. Because if they were typical Incan artifacts, why weren't they documented? Why was access limited? And why would a metallurgist need to test something as routine as copper chisels? The answer may lie in a broader pattern. Discoveries at Machu Picchu that sparked excitement, then quietly disappeared. From radiation anomalies to magnetic interference, from sealed chambers to unexcavated voids, every time something strange surfaces, it gets buried again, literally and bureaucratically. It's not the absence of evidence that raises suspicion, it's the presence of patterns, and this was only the beginning. Stone, time, and the impossible architecture. Machu Picchu was officially built around 1450 AD, neatly placed in the late Inca timeline. But from the moment explorers laid eyes on its walls, something didn't add up. The site sits nearly 8,000 feet above sea level. The terrain is unforgiving, the stonework baffling. Massive blocks, some weighing over 50 tons, are fitted so precisely that modern visitors still marvel. You can't slip a credit card between them. And yet, the Inca had no iron tools, no wheels, no written blueprints, just copper chisels, fiber ropes, and brute strength, or so we've been told. Civil engineers have run the numbers. To replicate the site today would require cranes, computer-aided models, and laser alignment. Still, the Inca did it on mountaintops, without machines, without mortar, without margin for error. The deeper you look, the stranger it becomes. Astronomical alignments throughout the site show millimeter-level accuracy. Some structures mark solstices and equinoxes with light patterns that only reveal themselves once a year. That's not accidental architecture, that's precision encoded in stone. But then came a quiet revolution. In 2013, Dr. Robert Schoch, best known for dating the Sphinx using water erosion, visited Machu Picchu. Studying the stonework on the lower terraces, he found weathering patterns that didn't fit a 15th century timeline. The erosion suggested exposure not for hundreds, but for thousands of years. Upper structures showed less wear, a different style, and likely a later date. His conclusion? The site wasn't built all at once. Parts of it might predate the Inca by millennia. He submitted his findings to multiple journals. All rejected them, not for bad science, but because the conclusions challenged accepted history. And challenging history, it seems, is something institutions still find difficult to process. When the ground talks back. In 2001, a team using ground-penetrating radar found a large void beneath the Temple of the Sun at Machu Picchu. The signal was unmistakable, something hollow, artificial, and geometrically consistent. The logical next step was excavation, but the Peruvian government denied permits, citing preservation concerns. The equipment was packed up. The void remains sealed to this day. This wasn't the first time technology ran into silence. In 2009, a documentary crew brought magnetometers to the Intihuatana stone, the hitching post of the sun, thought to have spiritual or astronomical significance. As they began scanning, compasses spun erratically. Digital instruments reset without cause. Some cameras failed entirely. The team reviewed the footage, then shelved it. The final report was labeled inconclusive. The footage was never released. Even earlier, in 1968, a construction crew near Cusco broke into a chamber buried beneath an ancient Inca road. Inside, they found metal tools, shaped, refined, but chemically inconsistent with known Incan metallurgy. Officials arrived, sealed the site, and issued no further statements. The chamber was never reopened. It's easy to dismiss one event, but 3, 5, a dozen, each involving discoveries that don't match the official timeline or known technologies, and each followed by silence, sealed access, or institutional denial. This isn't just academic caution, it's pattern recognition. Because every time evidence surfaces that might push Machu Picchu's origin deeper into the past, or suggest capabilities that don't belong in the Inca toolkit, that evidence disappears, discredited or locked away, not disproven, just buried. In archaeology, the ground usually hides the truth. But at Machu Picchu, it seems the ground is trying to speak, and someone doesn't want us listening. A pattern across the Andes. The idea that Machu Picchu wasn't the first or only site with impossible craftsmanship isn't speculation, it's a pattern. And the evidence extends far beyond Peru's jungle ridgelines. In 2010, Polish archaeologists conducted a ground-penetrating radar survey at Pumapunku, a high-altitude site in Bolivia already known for its enigmatic stone blocks. What they discovered wasn't just surprising, it was disorienting. Beneath several meters of sediment lay massive, precision-cut H-shaped stones, buried so deeply they predated any known Incan activity by millennia. The shape itself matters. These interlocking H-forms aren't just decorative, they suggest a lost system of modular construction. The cuts are flawless. Right angles, smooth joints, internal cavities that seem tailored to specific tools or fasteners. And these aren't isolated. The same shapes, lesser known but unmistakably related, appear at Machu Picchu, often in its oldest, lowest terraces. What disturbed the researchers most wasn't the complexity, it was the consistency. Across hundreds of miles and different terrain types, the same architectural grammar repeats, implying not a single brilliant anomaly, but a regional blueprint, perhaps inherited from a forgotten predecessor civilization. If the erosion studies at Machu Picchu are correct, and if buried megaliths at Pumapunku truly predate Inca rule by thousands of years, then the Andes are hiding more than lost cities. They're hiding a lost language of engineering, encoded in stone. But instead of prompting large-scale investigation, these findings were quietly published, then largely ignored. No coordinated excavation followed. No grants were awarded to confirm or dispute the data. The pattern repeated: discovery, fascination, then silence. Machu Picchu may be the crown jewel, but it's not an outlier. It's a chapter in a much older book, one that someone seems reluctant to open. The tools that changed everything. The 3 lost crates sent to Yale in 1916 remain one of the most elusive clues in this entire mystery. According to Bingham's own handwritten journal, the tools found at Machu Picchu's lowest terrace were composed of a material he could not identify. That alone raised questions, but what followed raised suspicions. He referred the items to Dr. Harold Wentworth, a metallurgist working in Yale's Department of Chemistry. But whatever Wentworth found was never made public. No papers, no conferences, not even a passing mention. His lab notes, requested in 1987 by a graduate student, were denied on the grounds of proprietary research methods, a strange explanation for analysis performed in 1914 and long since obsolete. More curious still was a nearly forgotten 1968 discovery near Cusco. A road maintenance crew uncovered a hidden chamber beneath a disused Inca path. Inside, several metal tools, unoxidized and unfamiliar in form. The site was quickly sealed. No photos, no published inventory, and, according to regional officials, no formal excavation ever took place. What could make these tools so controversial? Perhaps their composition, or their function. Or perhaps the real threat they posed wasn't to science, but to narrative. Because once you admit that a civilization had metalwork beyond its known metallurgy, you must also admit that your chronology might be flawed. And once that door opens, everything changes. Sometimes, it's not the technology itself that's too advanced. It's the idea that someone had it when they weren't supposed to. Why they don't want you to dig. In 2017, Dr. Julio Valdivia, a respected Peruvian archaeologist, submitted a proposal to use LiDAR technology to scan beneath Machu Picchu. It was a non-invasive method, already used across ancient sites from Cambodia to the Amazon, and could have revealed buried chambers, older foundations, or even architectural layers invisible to the naked eye. His request was denied. So was his 2019 resubmission, and again in 2022. Valdivia passed away in 2023 at just 58 from a heart attack. But in his final recorded words, Valdivia didn't offer outrage or accusation, just quiet certainty. He spoke of layers beneath Machu Picchu that could upend everything we think we know. He'd seen the scans, he'd followed the data, and he believed history wasn't being preserved. It was being protected from the truth. His words echo a growing sentiment among independent researchers. It's not that the evidence is missing, it's that we're not permitted to follow where it leads. The institutions guarding these sites claim preservation, but preservation has become a veil, one that hides not just artifacts, but the authority to define truth. If we unearth something too old, too advanced, or too inconvenient, we're told we misunderstood it. If we press harder, we're told we're risking the past. But what if we're not risking it? What if we're finally recovering it? Maybe the question was never how Machu Picchu was built, but why we stopped asking. If you're ready to keep questioning what lies beneath, subscribe for more lost history, strange discoveries, and stories they'd rather keep buried. And don't forget to share your theory below.